Good afternoon. My name is Alpheus Marcus, a community advocate here in New York City. Today on Truth to Power for an Urban Agenda, we'll explore and look at the 2020 presidential election. The 2020 presidential election is something that many feel is the most important election to date. Some agree, some won't. Some will support it, some won't. What I will tell you is this here. When we look at the process of this election, we have to understand that it's not a popular vote mechanism. It's designed for electoral voting process. How do we distinguish the two? We can distinguish the two by one word. Your vote don't count towards presidency. You will go into the booth, you will see a name that you recognize, and that name that you recognize will be an electoral delegate that you will press the button for. Why will you press the button for it? It's because of this here. We're conditioned to accept brand. The name that you see that's most popular is that person's brand. For whatever reason that you may think or feel, you're actually voting because you know the name. You don't even have to put together what the person has done, but you just know the name. We must stop that. We must vote in accordance to how our community is represented. You do realize that your voting presidency, a lot of lawmakers is about to get a free pass to re-election because you don't know who it is that you're supposed to be voting for, that you're just willing to vote down the line or vote for that name, and you're looking for that name that means nothing, absolutely nothing. How do we distinguish the two? Well, we know every 2 years you have congressional race, assembly race. Every 4 years you have a presidential race, a senator race. Senate on federal level, Senate on state level. Assembly on a state level, Congress on a federal level. Then you have the presidency. What we have to do is start evaluating how we're voting. Because the way that we're voting and the way that they're playing on our emotions for the votes, it's not doing us any good. We are still stuck with the same problems, with the same people in office. That's going to tell us everything that we want to hear, but it's not something that we should be hearing. Your state electors will tell you everything that's going on the federal level, right? But it's a 10th Amendment that says the states have their own authority to deviate from a federal level. A lot of us don't know that, but we accept it. When you look at what's going on today, a lot of us love what Cuomo is doing, but when you really look at Cuomo, he's not like his father. You know that he's actually signed more tax breaks for billionaires than what many have called Donald Trump to be doing. Do you know that Governor Cuomo has signed more bills that don't help our communities or benefit our communities, but they want to push the federal level? That these are the things that's going on, and it's not true. So, how do we do away with this here system? We become more informative. We become more invested. Because when we look at our communities, we have to see that our votes have actually benefited our communities. These lawmakers that we send, because those are the most important factors, is the lawmakers. Your assembly and your congressional members, your state senate, your federal senates. That, on those levels, is how you determine how our communities benefit from it. We have to be more informed. We must be more due diligent in watching what's going on, seeing what's going on, and how it actually applies to us. The black and brown community has been, how can I say it? We've been neglected, deprived, abused, misled, lied to. What's the best word to say it? We've been investing in political careers and haven't gotten anything on our return. That needs to stop. When we look at this election, even though it's late, but we still have at least 3 more months to actually get updated and knowledgeable about how we should vote. We shouldn't be focusing on the president. We should be focusing on our local electives. Again, the federal as well as state. What we don't have that benefit us is an agenda that we can inject in both parties. Because simply put, Democrats has wasted so much time in misleading us and taking advantage of our votes, and the Republican Party don't have an identity when it comes down to the urban communities. They don't know how to get the urban community votes, initiatives, or agendas to where you start having that balance. And being there's no balance within politics, we must take the time to look at what's going on and begin the process of instituting that balance. Because without instituting that balance, we will continue to have the same docile-minded sheep being led by another sheep because he doesn't know what he's doing. And we'll continue that process. We must become more active. We must become more proactive as well as preventative and allowing these fakes to get our votes because it's not working. We look at what's going on. We look at AOC. AOC has done nothing for the community or constituents on a federal level. She's done a whole lot of talking. She hasn't passed any laws that benefit our communities. She hasn't even passed any laws that benefit the Latin communities. Not even proposed any laws that benefit the Latin communities. And here it is, you have a community that's affected by immigration laws. And I know I've spoken on immigration policies and laws before, but has she actually been a vocal voice for those issues in her constituents where it's predominantly Latin? No, she hasn't. She's pushed a green and an eco narrative. That's not what we need. We need togetherness, unification. We need people to be as one. And without that, and without fighting and having that voice for the people, we'll still be lost. We'll still continue to allow our emotions to be played on. We'll continue to develop the mindset that we're willing to accept the lesser of two evils. I'm gonna speak about the candidates. We have one that's been a senator for over almost 50 years that's engaged in nothing but racist rhetoric and ideologies. And he's managed to tone it down only because he was put in position to run underneath a black man that he despised. Then we have the real estate developer who was conditioned through media and other forms to look at black people the way he's looked at them, to only now starting to understand that his way of life and the way his thinking and his concept was wrong. We can all talk about how there's a cycle of white nationalists and white supremacy, but when we look at the reality of this white supremacy and white national, it's a lot of poor whites. And what you have to remember is there's more whites in America than there is any other group of people. So when you talk about base and you talk about concepts of voting, politics is nothing more than entertainment. They have to cater to who? Their targeted audience. Is it personal? Who knows? But I do know that him being president and him being an executive officer, he has really no power. Because if he's only limited to 2 terms and your Congress has forever, you need to focus on the ones that have forever that make the laws, opposed to those who sit in 2 terms that have no laws. So with that, I thank you for watching and tuning in. And whatever issues that you or topics that you want to discuss, feel free to comment on the videos, and we'll do all our research and we'll bring it to you. Thank you and enjoy your week.